All right, this is Dan Meehan for Fight News Australia, and today we have the smiling assassin, David Martinez, who takes on Tristan Mad Dog Murphy at Eternal MMA 63 on November 20th. David, how are you?
I am fantastic, brother. How about yourself?
Very good. Thanks for stopping by. Last time we spoke, you were getting ready to take on Dimps Gillies at Eternal 61. How's life been since then?
No, life's been treating me good, man. Like after about ended up being, I think, a four month fight camp. After that fight, I managed to treat myself to perhaps a few too many good meals. Uh, but yeah, quickly had to turn around because I'm like, I want to get another fight in before the year's over, and Eternal 63 is looking like my ticket.
Yeah. Well, it was a well-deserved few good meals after that one. Of course, yeah, you won a unanimous decision on that night. How did you pull up afterwards?
Oh, great, man. I didn't like it's not very often that I get out of fights not too badly marked up, but yeah, didn't sort of smack my forehead around when I was on his back in that third round. Didn't let me off lightly, did he?
Absolutely not. So how do you reflect on the fight itself?
I was very happy with my striking, man, and even my grappling was still coming through. You know, I was able to control him most of round one, most of round three. Yeah, but I think round two was just completely striking, and I managed to hold my own in against freaking Dimps, man, of all people. Yeah, that's a good feather in my cap. I'm very happy about that.
Absolutely. I was actually going to mention that next up, you spent pretty much half the fight standing up against Dimps and certainly held your own. Is this part of the sort of the evolution of the smiling assassin, or were you just sort of having some fun in there on the night?
Oh, it's a combination of both. I think, man, I was having way too much fun with Dimps, and yeah, as well as doing a lot of work with Jimmo and Ryan Doyle, really working my striking, and it's nice to see it come through in the fights and sort of reflect on their coaching since they've joined in the team with us.
Yeah, it was certainly a fun fight to watch, and must have been one of the sort of the friendliest fights I've ever watched too. um,
How
yeah.
can you? How can you?
Sorry, there you go.
So no, I was going to say, how can you not love Dim Skillies? How can you
Absolutely,
not
yeah.
love the guy?
I have interviewed Dimps before, and yeah, he's one of the loveliest guys in the game. So yeah, it was certainly fun to watch from that standpoint as well. So you're a fighter who you got pretty used to winning early in your career. I think your winning streak might have been around the 15 fights there. But coming off a couple of losses coming into this one, sort of how good did it feel to get your hand raised in the end?
Yeah, it's like a huge rush of like a kind of relief, I guess. It's like, but at the same time, like you'll see me if you rewatch the fight and you see as the scores are being announced. I'm like staring at my tape. I'm like, all right, which corner am I in? Oh yeah, that's right, I'm blue. I'm like, please call the blue corner. Are you gonna call the blue corner? I wasn't even sure that I just don't trust the judges anymore. But yeah, to win that fight, man, well, just to win a fight again felt fantastic.
Yeah, and you're obviously wasting no time getting back into the cage this time out. Is this sort of a sign of things like? Do you feel like you have to make up for some lost time here, or is this just taking an opportunity as it presents itself?
I would say taking an opportunity, man. Like I just enjoy fighting, and I want to get in there as often as I can before the time comes when I can't.
Yep, absolutely. And this next one's a rematch 10 years in the making. For those who don't know, David and Tristan actually made their amateur debuts against each other back in 2011. Now, I believe you didn't have any training under your belt at the time of the first fight, but what was your recollection of that one?
Oh man, so yeah, that was when I watched that movie Never Back Down. I was like, you know what, that's a good sport. I might give that a shot. And yeah, signed up for a fight, no training, and lo and behold, I run into freaking Tristan Murphy. The man just double legs me and smashes me. But who would have thought back in the day, watching two scrubs fight in a middleweight debut fight, that you'd be watching two future eternal champions?
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah,
Yeah.
it was probably a bit of a rough matchup on the night for you, sort of coming with no experience.
Yes, yes. rough is a very polite way of putting it, my friend.
Absolutely. But so is this a fight that you've asked for? Is it a loss that you sort of wanted to avenge?
To be honest, no, man, I haven't really thought about it. I mean, it's been a decade in the making, pretty much. But it was, I was asking for another name, but then they threw Tristan's name out. I was like, well, let's do it. And it's interesting being at super lightweight as opposed to like lightweight or welterweight. But I certainly welcome the challenge.
Absolutely. And yeah, I was going to mention the catchweight there. Tristan's obviously a former Eternal welterweight champion, yourself a former Eternal lightweight champion. So the fight's sort of, you guys are meeting in the middle at a catchweight. Do you normally cut much weight to make lightweight, or how comfortable are you with the catchweight this time?
Well, I suppose weight cutting wise, I'm very thankful for the catchweight. But it is also, it's catch-22 kind of thing. It's like, yeah, I don't have to cut weight, but I am giving up size then. And then you're left with the question, it's like, all right, do I continue as I would at lightweight and just not cut any weight at all? Or do I remain a bit heavier and cut a little bit of weight down to the catch weight? And it's like, I've got options, but which one would be the best?
Do you feel like the size will play a factor on the night?
Size can always play a factor, man, but I find a way around it no matter what.
Yeah. And needless to say, you've improved dramatically since your first meeting with Tristan, and I'm sure he has too. But how do you feel you guys match up this time around?
Yeah, it is interesting because we're both primarily grapplers, I would say. Yeah, but we've also both sort of put a lot of work into our striking. Yeah, well, at least I imagine he has as well. So yeah, it's a very interesting dynamic, but it's one that you really have to be in there to figure out.
Yeah, guess we'll find out on the night, won't we? So what's the training room like at Ignite at the moment?
Oh, people are getting pumped, man. And we still got a couple more fights that we go out before the end of the year. Not so much. We got Jamie making her Jamie Ederton and making her pro boxing debut on the same night actually. Yeah, so that should go pretty well. Then we got my boy down at Game Red, Lonnie, Philly Wahala. Yeah, he's going for 3 belts, man. 3 weight classes.
Wow.
No, I always tell him like, no, man, the first one was super lightweight. That's not a real division. Like that doesn't count. But don't tell him that.
Yeah, well, I guess it depends who you ask. A belt's a belt, hey.
Yeah, so yeah, Lonnie, man, Lonnie Fumahala. Triple C is what we'll be calling him.
There you go. And looks like former UFC fighter Ben Wall might be in camp with you again this time.
Benny's back, man. Yeah, good to get time on the mats with him, man. Wrestling on the wall, wrestling on the ground. And always a handful, Ben.
Yeah. And he's got a fight himself coming up in Canberra, I think. Is that right?
I believe so, man. It's been postponed a couple of times. And so I'm not too sure where that's at right now, if that's still lined up. I think it is, but don't quote me on that because I'm not entirely sure. I'll have to ask him when I see him next.
Yep. And assuming, of course, that you're successful on November 20th, do you have any sort of opponents in mind, or where do you see yourself going after that?
My man, there is nothing beyond November 20th at the moment. I'd like to think about it, but like really, really depends, man. And November 20th is the cutoff date for my life currently. So nothing else exists beyond that until that date comes and goes. Then we'll talk about future opponents, eh?
Yep. Do you feel like you at least might need a break after this one, after sort of the extended fight camp the last time around, and then a quick turnaround this time, or are you just looking to just go back to back and keep rolling?
I said we keep the ball rolling, my man. Yeah, shouldn't we get it out of this one nice and clean? Then yeah, let's see what's next. keep it going, I say.
Do you still hold the Coastal Combat title, or are you tied to Eternal exclusively at this stage?
I do still hold the Coastal title, but I've mainly been sticking with Eternal because of obviously Fight Pass exposure, as well as getting wins on Eternal is important if you want to go after the Eternal belt again.
Absolutely, yeah. Speaking of the Eternal belt, the main event at Eternal 63, of course, is the Eternal lightweight title, your division, between Jack Becker and Brenton Mumford. What's your prediction for that one?
Oh, well, I'm not really going to give a prediction for that one, man, but I am just going to sit back and enjoy it. That is a cracker fight.
Yeah, it's a fun one on paper, that's for sure. And of course, as we mentioned, you're a former Eternal lightweight champion yourself. You even won the belt against the challenger this time around in Brenton Mumford. So, do you have your eyes on the title, or how many wins do you think you might need to be able to get yourself back into the title picture?
Well, let's say everything goes according to plan. I win November 20th. I believe that makes me the only lightweight contender with a win at the moment, or at least someone around there. Yeah. So I'm like, well, I don't know. Am I next in line? I think so. Give it to me.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, we'll see how that plays out, brother.
Yep. Could we see a call out in the cage afterwards, or?
Well, I don't know if Dan manages to coax it out of me or something, but I probably want to keep quiet until after the title fight. I just wanted to play out.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't really strike me as the as the call out type.
I've tried a couple call outs, man, but they don't work.
Absolutely, and of course you've been getting called out pretty relentlessly by a former opponent that you had booked in Aiden Aguilera. Is he still sort of snapping at your heels, or has that one been put to bed for now?
My man has gone quiet, man. I don't know. I think COVID got him. I'm afraid. I mean, you're down his way. Can you check on him for me?
Yeah, I was actually chatting to his coach recently. I think he has got a fight possibly lined up sometime soon, but we'll see how that plays out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the borders are opening. Like, I'm starting to get more confidence that they're not going to throw us back into quick lockdown. So, who knows? It might be a possibility down the track, man.
Yeah, and MMA is back here in Melbourne. We've got three shows lined up in the next sort of month or two. So who knows? Could we see the Smiling Assassin down south sometime soon?
Always possible, man. Assuming I'm going to need to get the vaccine in order to travel, though. So I'll get back to you on that one, brother.
Absolutely. Dave, before I let you go, do you have any sponsors or anyone you'd like to shout out? I'll hand the reins over to you.
Oh, well, I've got a long list, man, but let's start with the sponsors, eh? Like Author, Supply Co, freaking love them, man, and the Angry Baker. Yeah, and I just want to give a shout out to all my gyms, man. The guys, Ryan Dunstan, guys at Ignite, Connor, Paul Birch, the guys at Tribal, Scott Hipwell, Muscle Hut, Ryan Doyle, the guys at Hellraiser, Jimmo and Justin T. Wood, Kaza and Dynamics. And I want to thank my beautiful wife and manager, Jane Martinez. She's an absolute rock in my life, man. I don't think I'd ever done what I've done in the sport without her. And yeah,
that's about it. Beautiful. Well, perfect. Well played there at the end. Giving the wife and manager a plug. It's very well done. David, thank you so much for stopping by once again, and all the best at Eternal 63.
My brother, thank you for having me.